Hi, let's go ahead and get started today. My name is Heather Engen, and I'm part of the CRCF team here at the Center for Innovative Technology. Today's session will provide information about the CRCF FY19 application process to assist you as you prepare your proposal and budget materials for the solicitation. Because you already have an approved LOI, you are likely familiar with the CRCF program and this year's solicitation. But if not, please consider watching the Introduction to CRCF video, which can be found at the CRCF resources page on CIT's website. Before I get started, I wanted to let you know that all participants have been placed on mute to avoid distracting background noises. If you have questions, you may submit them at any time by expanding your webinar control panel and using the questions feature. I will address questions at the end of this session, or I will follow up with you after the webinar. Later today or tomorrow, we will post a recording of this video on our CRCF resources page. There you can also find several shorter topic-specific videos on many of the areas that will be discussed in this presentation. All the required materials that you will need to submit your FY19 application can be found on CIT's website. To access the documents you need, click on the link for the specific program that you are applying under. There you will find documents such as the program guidelines, templates for that program's proposal and budget, and a sample program application. Towards the bottom of the CRCF landing page, or on any of the program pages, you'll see a link for the CRCF resources page. There you'll be able to access general materials such as our FAQs, the information videos that I've already mentioned, subject matter expert evaluation forms, and presentations from the regional briefings that we hosted earlier this year. If we schedule any additional webinars, you would also be able to find the link to register at that page. But don't worry, if we add any more webinars, we'll be sure to send out an email with that information. Like the LOIs, all applications must be completed and submitted via the online CRCF portal. The CRCF application process is entirely conducted online. We will not accept hard copies or emailed submissions. If you have any difficulty with the application process, find the video entitled CRCF Application Walkthrough, which will take you through the application process step by step, including how to access your application. As I've mentioned, we have also provided a sample application for each program. We encourage you to avail yourself of both of these and our many other resources. The guidelines for each program provide direction for the expected content of your proposal and the required formatting, as well as page caps. All of this varies from program to program, so make sure you've downloaded the correct program guidelines. This slide demonstrates that while the proposals for each program do have similarities, they are not the same. And for the record, these outlines are just for demonstration purposes. They're not comprehensive. As always, refer to the program guidelines. Your proposal content will be typed or pasted into the proposal template. Here's a screenshot of part of the top of the commercialization program proposal template. Templates, like other materials, do vary by program, so you'll need to download and use the one for the program that you were approved to submit under. You'll also want to make sure that you're using the current template for the FY19 solicitation. On the template, you'll see prompts stating enter content here. Click in that space and either type or paste the required content. You'll need to edit the footer to enter your CRCF reference number and your project title. Moving forward, you will always use the CRCF reference number, which is the combination of letters and numbers that was assigned to you when your LOI was approved. You will no longer need the request ID that was part of your LOI document. Applicants to the commercialization or SBIR and STTR matching funds programs must also complete all yellow cells of the embedded financial table that you see depicted in this screenshot. A page break has been included between the different sections of the proposal template. Any white space at the end of a section will not count against your page limit, so feel free to start the next section on a separate page of the template. The uploaded materials should be in final form without track changes or internal comments. The proposal should be converted to PDF before uploading it into the online form. Uploaded materials should have been saved with the nomenclature described in the guidelines. This year, the guidelines provide recommendations for how to balance your content within the allotted page limits in regards to the length of content. That said, the use of space is entirely at your discretion. Do make sure to include all required content, but how you choose to use the space is up to you. If your proposal exceeds the allowable page count, the additional content will not be reviewed or considered during the review process. Furthermore, if your proposal does not adhere to the specified criteria, that does impact the project's overall evaluation score. As you prepare your proposal, make sure the focus of your application is on the CRCF project. Recall that CRCF requested funds should be primarily devoted to technology development efforts. While there's no stated cap on equipment requests, CRCF is not a major equipment acquisition program. So if your project has equipment acquisition requirements, consider whether there are alternative procurement options, such as leasing or using the equipment at another facility, or whether the equipment can be supplied with part of the project's matching funds. When you're preparing the content for your proposal, weigh the value of repetitive information versus available space. To make the best use of your page limits, know that you can always refer back to a different part of the proposal if you feel that it's relevant and/or necessary to address similar content in different parts of your proposal. All proposals have several sections, including a technical discussion and a section addressing the strategic plan. For SBIR and STTR applicants, there's also a standalone section addressing the commercialization plan. The private sector programs all include the financial table, which must be filled out by the applicant. All applicants are required to include an executive summary of the CRCF project. The executive summary is meant to provide a high-level overview of the proposed project. This is not a lengthy, detailed description of the work, but rather a quick explanation of the problem your CRCF project is solving, the proposed technology solution, and who's involved. The executive summary should be suitable for a general audience, as the content may be used to publicly describe your project. We're looking for a paragraph of content, 2 at the most. You can elaborate and provide more detail in the project description and particularly in the work plan. For the SBIR and STTR programs, you will first provide an overview of the federal project, and then the CRCF executive summary gives an overview of the CRCF project and how it advances the work and the goals of the federal project. The work plan is one of the most important elements of your proposal because it provides the necessary detail about how and what specific work will be accomplished. This is more than a bulleted list. It should be a narrative explanation of the tasks and/or specific activities of your project. We're expecting to see subtasks and measurable milestones that will take place and/or how the work will be performed and how CRCF and matching funds will be used. This is where you will also identify key personnel and their role in the project. It's important to provide a thorough and realistic description of the proposed work. This should be a comprehensive overview of how the project will be completed and how funds will be used. Applicants are expected to provide a fully developed work plan as part of their application, as it is evaluated along with other criteria throughout the review process. It is not acceptable to tell us that preparing a work plan is the first part of your CRCF project. Should your project be funded, you will periodically report to us on your progress. We'll use the detailed work plan to confirm that your project is on task and on budget. Should parts of your work plan change by the time an award is made, CRCF will consider such modifications on a case-by-case basis. The graphic timeline is a visual representation of the work plan for the CRCF project. It does not take the place of the work plan within your application, as both are required elements for all proposals. The graphic timeline should also depict tasks, subtasks, and milestones, and when they will start and be completed, in correlation with the project's period of performance. If you're unsure of what a graphic timeline is, a quick Google search will provide you with many examples, including one that may look very similar to the image on this slide. A link to these examples is also included within each set of program guidelines. All proposals require a strategic plan, which includes elements such as the evaluation plan, anticipated economic benefits to the Commonwealth, and for most of the programs, discussions of commercialization, including new and follow-on funding. For our SBIR and STTR applicants, some of this information may be included in the required commercialization plan rather than the strategic plan, but your guidelines will give insight into what information is needed. The evaluation plan describes a specific performance measures or metrics you expect to achieve during the CRCF project in order to determine whether project objectives and milestones have been met. This is where you'll link the project activities described in your detailed work plan to their intended outcomes. For example, if you listed software development as part of your work plan, in the evaluation plan, you might tell us that your expected performance measure is to successfully port your software to iOS, Android, Linux, and Windows. Or if you have a biosciences project and you were planning to do research on a new medical process, perhaps the intended performance measure is to have a study with 100 participants and a 95% success rate. Or perhaps you will be performing tests where the success is determined by a score of 75 or above. The metrics will be specific to your project. So the evaluation plan includes specific quantitative or qualitative criteria that defines long-term project success and how project execution will be managed. Overall, this discussion goes beyond identifying the frequency of meetings and the software that may be used for this process. Economic impact. What do we mean by economic impact? Let me give you some examples of the sort of information we'd like to see. What is the job creation potential in Virginia once your technology reaches the commercialization stage? What are the projected sales or revenue for the proposed technology, and in what time frame is this outcome expected? Is this a potentially disruptive technology that could result in drastic cost savings for your industry in a way that would benefit Virginia? Would there be opportunities for collaboration with a manufacturing plant or other organizations here in the Commonwealth? Could you expand your footprint through physical facility growth and expansion, or spin out the technology into a new company? If you're with a university, would there be the opportunity for the IP created to generate revenue for the institution? Demonstrate that you are thinking through to commercialization and beyond. The projected outcomes may be high level, but this is where you can indicate how your organization and the proposed technology may positively impact Virginia's economy. Do be realistic in your projections because our reviewers will be evaluating these goals. By describing the potential economic impact, you are reinforcing to reviewers that your technology and organization can have both short and long-term benefits for the Commonwealth, and that this is a worthy investment of taxpayer dollars. This year, we've consolidated our budget document to integrate the budget narrative with the budget amounts. You will input content into a single tab of an Excel spreadsheet. We hope this will make it easier to ensure that your narrative matches the figures provided in your budget. The budget must also be consistent with other application materials, such as your online application form and your proposal. If you make a change to one document, remember to update all the other relevant materials. The budget document is where you'll record the amount requested from CRCF and provide it as your match, and you'll explain how you will use all those monies. The budget must be completed using the program-specific template. The screenshot is of a commercialization budget. The budget template will show a combination of white and yellow cells. You'll enter the data for your CRCF project, matching funds, and narrative into the white cells. The yellow cells are formula-driven and will update as you input numerical data into the white cells. We've locked the yellow cells to avoid accidental changes to the embedded formulas. Your completed budget will include your CRCF request and any matching funds and in-kind that you're providing to support the project. Matching funds must match or exceed the monies requested from CRCF. For more information about matching funds, watch the video entitled Matching Funds One-to-One Project Cost Share. The total amounts of your CRCF request and matching funds must mirror each other from year to year, but they don't need to be allocated to the same categories. Matching funds can come from a variety of sources, both cash and in-kind, as I've already mentioned. Our SBIR and STTR matching funds programs are unique in that the federal award serves as your match. You'll enter the amount of the federal award on the budget, but you don't need to provide us with any information about how those monies will be used. If, however, you choose to provide additional matching funds, those funds would be recorded on the budget the same way matching funds for other programs are recorded. But there are no requirements or limitations placed on the optional additional matching funds for SBIR and STTR. Some budget categories do have request caps, including indirect costs, consultants and subcontractors, and market validation. You'll need to pay particular attention to your direct cost versus indirect cost ratio. The cap on indirect costs is correlated to the total amount of direct costs requested from CRCF, as opposed to the total CRCF request. The specific cap percentages vary from program to program, so this is another thing you'll need to confirm in the program guidelines. I would like to take this opportunity to point out that the applicant organization must do the majority, that is at least 51%, of the proposed technology in mind if you plan to include a subcontractor in your proposal. Your completed budget will also include narrative detailing how the monies will be used. There is guidance about the required level of detail expected in the narrative provided on the template under each budget category in italics. The more detail you are able to provide, the better. All expenses must be justified as critical to the project. The budget and budget narrative are closely reviewed during all stages of the review process. If you would like additional information about the budget and narrative, I encourage you to watch the videos entitled Completing the Budget and Budget Tips and Common Pitfalls to Avoid, which can be found on our CRCF resources page. The appendix is the last required element of all applications. There's no template for the appendix, but the guidelines for each program provide very clear direction on the required content, which, like everything else, does vary by program. All programs require a letter from the authorized representative and CVs. For most of our programs, the CVs are for some of the principal members of the applicant's team. The specifics are provided in the guidelines, but for the eminent researcher program, the appendix includes either CVs of candidates being considered or a profile of the candidate that has been developed for recruitment. Letters of support are optional. For the SBIR and STTR matching funds programs, the requested documentation regarding the federal award is also to be included with the appendix materials. If you're providing a copy of your contract, we only need the signed first page. If you're applying to CRCF before a decision has been made regarding your federal award, we request that you provide a document detailing the submission deadline, the sponsoring agency, whether it's a phase 1 or phase 2, the project title of the federal award, the requested award amount, and the estimated date of award. If you're providing a screenshot of the submission, please make sure the information is legible. CRCF funding is contingent upon receipt of the federal award. When you learn the status of your federal submission, you should notify CIT within 2 business days. We discourage the inclusion of proprietary information, but if it is necessary for a thorough understanding of your technology or project, it must be provided in the appendix and clearly marked as proprietary. I'm sure this goes without saying, but do not include classified information. If you have additional materials that you would like to include with your proposal, you may do so in the appendix up to the page limit. Please note that the page limit does include your program's required materials. If space is an issue for you, it is acceptable to combine elective materials into a single page as long as they remain legible. For example, you may wish to include several letters of support on a single page. Anything that you want reviewed must be included in your proposal materials within the mandated page limits. We will not reach out to applicants for missing materials or information, even if you indicate that more materials are available upon request. If your appendix exceeds the allowable page count, like the proposal, the additional pages will not be reviewed or considered during the review process. If your project is a resubmission from a prior round, please address subsequent work that has been done to advance the technology since your previous proposal. You should also address any concerns raised by reviewers of previous non-funded CRCF submissions, either in the letter you received or that were shared with you during your CRCF debrief, if you chose to participate in one. If your FY19 project is a continuation of a previously funded CRCF project, briefly highlight how CRCF funds helped to achieve a particular outcome through that award, and then address how new funding will continue to advance the technology toward commercialization. If you declined a previous award, consider whether you need to provide an explanation of how your circumstances have changed. Throughout the presentation, I've shared numerous suggestions to help you prepare a strong proposal. I'd like to provide some additional suggestions. Some of this may be a repeat of things I've already said, but bear with me because it's important. As you prepare your proposal documents, the best advice I can give you is to pay attention to the details and to use the resources available to you. First and foremost, refer to the program guidelines for direction about content and formatting. Make sure to use the correct templates. They should be for this FY19 solicitation and for the specific program you're applying to. One of our programs is simply called the Matching Funds Program. So don't inadvertently use those materials when preparing for your SBIR or STTR Matching Funds proposal, for example. If you use the wrong template, more than likely your proposal will be missing key elements for the program that you're actually applying to. Don't resubmit materials that were prepared for a previous solicitation. Our materials have changed even since the FY18 solicitation, so those materials will be out of date. Make sure you're using the current guidelines as you prepare your materials. Use space wisely. Graphics are included in the page count, so weigh the value of using large images, tables, headings, etc. Adhere to the maximum allowable page count. Consider how much background information is necessary to accurately describe your technology. Try to avoid repetitive content. Remember that proposals must use size 10 Arial font and have half-inch margins. So modifying these characteristics is not a viable solution to squeeze in additional content. Be clear and concise with your content. That said, make sure you provide sufficient detail to allow for a thorough understanding of the work. The proposed project must be realistic. Consider what funding will be needed to get the technology to market. Make sure to demonstrate why CRCF funding is critical to success. Articulate how and why you have the appropriate team and/or partners to accomplish your goals. You will be required to provide CVs for certain members of the team, but pointing out specific strengths of your team, including experience commercializing technology, is also necessary. Be sure to discuss your plans for commercialization and for getting the technology to market. Demonstrate the foundation for making a claim on market opportunity. Be sure to highlight the competitive advantage of the proposed solution and market penetration strategies. Be sure to include the discussion of economic development potential for Virginia. This is a common miss that we see. Another mistake that we frequently encounter is that the evaluation plan section only provides information about the administrative vehicle the team will use to evaluate their project's progress, as opposed to the actual metrics or benchmarks that they are hoping to achieve during the project and long term. It's the latter that we're actively seeking. Discuss your plans to secure and/or protect your intellectual property. In dual or multi-party projects, or when IP is licensed from another organization, should your project be funded, you will have to provide an executed IP agreement that is durable enough to satisfy commercialization. We recommend you start thinking this through now, including the timing of preparing an IP agreement. Be accurate and consistent with your information, particularly your numbers. Information provided in the online forms should match the proposal, which should also match the budget. Please proofread your proposal before submitting it. Make sure that you've included all the required elements such as the detailed work plan, the graphic timeline, the required CVs, etc. If your submission is sloppy with typos and grammatical errors and/or missing key elements, it's less likely to get funded. Applications that don't comply with the guidelines will not even proceed past our initial review. CIT has no obligation to reach out to applicants to request clarification or more information, so make sure to cross your T's and dot your I's. If you're stuck on a section, don't be afraid to try searching online for guidance, and of course you can always reach out to our team at crcf@cit.org. As you likely noticed during the LOI process, our programs have staggered deadlines. The application deadline for the commercialization program and the SBIR and STTR matching funds programs is at noon on Tuesday, January 15. The application deadline for the matching funds program and the eminent researcher recruitment programs is noon on Thursday, January 31. Deadlines are firm and late submissions will not be accepted. Given that our program is only available for Virginia organizations, I assume that everyone understands that our deadlines are Eastern Standard Time. For the FY19 solicitation, award announcements are expected in early June of 2019. Once you've submitted your application, what happens between then and when the awards are announced in the beginning of June? Initially, all applications are reviewed by CIT for administrative compliance. For example, applications that are missing required elements or lack sufficient detail may not advance to the next round of review. If we discover that an applicant or submitted project is not eligible for our funding program during our review process, those applications will be removed from consideration. Applications that advance to the next stage will be reviewed by subject matter experts, or SMEs. They are assessing the projects for technical merit and feasibility and commercialization potential. This year, the SME evaluation forms are available to you via the resources page, and you'll see that the scoring criteria reflects information shared in the program guidelines. Look for the evaluation criteria in the table of contents. Both documents illuminate how CRCF information is weighted during the review process. It would be worthwhile to review these documents and consider this information as you prepare your submission. The top scoring proposals will advance to the legislatively appointed Research and Technology Investment Advisory Committee, or RTAC. The 10-member RTAC panel reviews these applications and makes award recommendations to the CIT Board of Directors. The CIT Board of Directors makes the final award decisions. In FY 2019, approximately $2.4 million is available to award through our 5 funding programs. There is not a predetermined number of awards, including by program, industry, or other factors. CRCF seeks to award the full amount of funds available to strong and innovative projects with high potential for return on investment in Virginia. Okay, hopefully everyone's back from that quick break. So I have a couple of questions which I will address. Somebody asks if the slides and recording will be shared afterwards. So as I mentioned at the beginning of the presentation, we will post a recording of this presentation either later today or tomorrow. So that will be up on our website on the CRCF resources page, where you can find all our other videos. We had not planned to share the slides, but if that would be helpful to you, please feel free to send us an email at crcf@cit.org, and we'd be happy to share them with you. If enough people are interested in, we may consider posting them to our website as well, but we would happily share those with you. Somebody asks about the matching funds program, and they noticed that the awards were for $100,000, and they wondered if these were proportions from just the CIT funding, or if that was combined with the institution's funding. So for the matching funds program, as opposed to the STTR and SBIR matching funds programs, CRCF does award up to $100,000 for those programs. So that would actually be a $200,000 project potentially with the matching funds. Yeah, and in fact, if sometimes the applicant provides even more match than $100,000, but if they request $100,000 from us, then the project would be for at least $200,000 because they have to provide a match equivalent to what they're requesting. So, and that's always true for any CRCF program, that what's listed on the website is only the CRCF portion of the award. So for example, if you see $50,000, that's actually a $100,000 project because CIT is providing $50,000 and the applicant is providing at least $50,000. The exception to this is the SBIR and STTR matching funds programs, because the federal award serves as their match. But then in those cases, it's actually a much larger project because the federal awards are, I think, always for more than $50,000. Okay, somebody asks if in determining matching funds, do we calculate the funds used for the same activity that is seeking funding from CIT? So when you are providing matching funds, those monies should be going to support the work in the proposed CRCF project. So any money that you're planning to spend to support those activities, or if you're providing in kind, those absolutely can be used as matching funds. Let's see, another person asks, does CIT have hourly rate limits for labor working on a project? We have not provided any hourly rate caps or rate caps at all. That said, that is absolutely something that the subject matter experts are looking at. So you want to make sure that the labor amounts are reasonable. Typically, we're not able to fund excessively high labor rates, so do keep that in mind. That's definitely something that gets evaluated. Can we include links to websites in our proposals, for example, videos or presentations? More than likely, those links would not get reviewed. It's possible that the subject matter expert would take a look at the materials you provide in your links, but they are not under any obligation to do so. Somebody says that they are currently working under a PI of a CRCF funded project and are applying on their own. And would this affect their plan submission? Absolutely not. You're welcome to mention that you're involved in a current funded project, but that would not impact decisions for the new application. So I have a couple new questions. Let me just take a quick look here. So I've looked through some more questions. I have some more answers for you guys. Somebody asks, for a project that is being funded for a proof of concept development, should the strategic plan include all commercialization and development plans? For example, should it include plans for the prototype phase through commercialization? And the answer is yes. So all of our programs have the end goal of commercialization. So absolutely, we want to know that you've thought this through all the way to commercialization. It's not to say that things couldn't change or that you have everything exactly figured out, but we do want to know that you have a plan to take this technology to commercialization. Somebody asks, if we submit early, will the CRCF staff be open to reviewing for technical soundness? If not, i.e. not content, just compliance with submission requests. We will not review applications I mean, you have to submit your application and it needs to be compliant. So we provide enough materials that we don't think there should be any difficulty being compliant. So we do not do that. But if you have questions, you can always write to crcf@cit.org if you're not clear on what something means in our materials. But it should be pretty easy to be compliant with our guidelines. Somebody says that they are currently working on a prototype that they plan to demonstrate in the spring. Can they update CIT with progress while their submission is being considered? So our recommendation would be that you mention this information in your proposal and that you say that an update would be available after your prototype demonstration. And then it would be up to the discretion of the subject matter expert. If they want to follow up with you and they feel they need more information and they want to know how the prototype demonstration went, then we would contact you on their behalf. So certainly letting us know that that is information that could be available is something that would be worth mentioning in your proposal. Somebody asks, for CRCF private sector programs, must another federal funding proposal or grant be submitted for ongoing to be aligned with the CRCF funding? So you can plan to submit a federal proposal, but it has to meet the deadline that was provided in the program guidelines. So we provide a very specific deadline. It has to be submitted by that time. The work does have to complement the CRCF project. So the federal award serves as your match, provided that the work being proposed to CRCF complements the work that you're doing in your federal project. So I hope that answers your question. Okay, somebody asks, are abstracts for previously funded projects publicly available for review? So you can find our CRCF annual report posted on our website. We don't provide an abstract, but there is a quick overview of the, sort of a 2-sentence overview of the proposals. It's possible some people have asked in the past about being connected with prior award recipients. You can reach out to us and see if we can pair you with somebody who might be willing to talk to you if that's something you'd be interested in doing and something that would be helpful to you. Somebody asks if matching funds can be from an external source or if they have to be from the proposing organization. In fact, matching funds, either one is acceptable. You can provide funds from an external source. You can complement this with in-kind or matching funds from your organization, or it can be solely from your organization. All of that is acceptable. Somebody asks, for matching funds, should we use the budget template for 12 months for our 13 to 24 months if it's for a $100,000 match? The amount of the match doesn't have anything to do with the template you would use. It's completely correlated to the duration of your project. So perhaps you have a $100,000 project, which would really be a $200,000 project that you intend to complete within 12 months. And in that case, you would use the 12-month template. Or you could have a $200,000 project that you think will take 19 months. So then you would use the 13 to 24-month project template or the 2-year template. So it really just depends on how long you anticipate it will take to complete your project. So that's totally up to you. We do see that the matching funds programs do often have a longer period of performance, but it really is just how long you think it will take to accomplish the work. somebody asks if they say they have a funding stream about to end in February. Can that be used as an existing matching fund? Unfortunately, the monies do need to be available when during the project. So it needs to be money that's available to expend at the same time that you're expending the CRCF monies. So unfortunately, money that is going away after February would not work as a source for matching funds, unless you were able to put it in the bank and you could use it during the CRCF project, but they do need to be available for use during the CRCF project. I just wanted to elaborate a little bit on the period of performance. Somebody had asked about the budget templates, and in our FAQs, I thought this might be helpful. We share that the commercialization projects typically are 6 to 12 months. The SBIR and STTR matching funds are typically 6 to 12 months. Matching funds tend to be 12 to 18 months, and the eminent researcher recruitment projects tend to be 24 months or longer. Now, those are just guidelines. It doesn't, you can, decide what works best for your project, but I thought that might be helpful information. So I wanted to correct what I had said, that the start date needed to be in July. It's actually June 17. That's the earliest start date that you can propose for a project. And it needs to have started within 60 days of award announcement. The exception to this is the SBIR and STTR proposals. They can have special consideration due to the fact that the federal awards may not be announced yet, so those would start after the federal award announcement. So after they know that they have the federal monies, then they could start on the CRCF project. So it looks like we're caught back up on questions again. I'm just going to do a quick scan and make sure that I've answered everything, so I'll put you on a brief hold again. So it looks like we have answered everyone's questions, and like I said, we're always available at crcf@cit.org, but I think we'll go ahead and sign off. We appreciate you spending this time with us today, and we look forward to hopefully seeing your proposal soon. Have a great day.